so the current Oba has a long and historic lineage. It was under Oba Ogwala, who was born in the late 1200s, that Benin's famous guild of bronze casters began. And this guild has been making bronzes for the court ever since, giving rise to the largest and most celebrated body of art metal in sub-Saharan Africa. If you walk along Igun Street in Benin City, then the bronze artwork for sale is just clearly in evidence everywhere. Here I've come to a workshop where the bronze casters actually work. And it's an ancient craft which is handed down from father to son, from generation to generation. And obviously it continues to this day. And it's a really painstaking operation that requires a great deal of attention to detail.
See this? There's a red head, red mud.
So that's
inside.
red earth, red mud.
Yes, it's red mud. This one is dried already. Then we rub it with wax.
Then you rub it with wax all over to mould it like this. And that's known as the lost wax method.
Yeah, there's a lost wax method. When we rub it, we bring out the face with the wax. Put out the mouth. Every design you see here was made up of wax.
I want to see some of the old examples of these bronzes, and so I go to the National Museum in Benin City.
You see, the beauty and dexterity with which the bronze casters apply their trade and apply on their works is unique. And this goes to show and helps the Beninese also to wipe off all those prejudices, certain comments about not just the Beninese, but the black man. They were savages, they live on trees and all that. But you see a work like this, you know it must have come from someone who is very intelligent.
Back at the palace, I decide to ask the Oba what he thinks of the Benin bronzes, which, as I discover, is a rather stupid question.
Thank you very much for the question you have asked, but that question is akin to like preaching to the converted, don't you think? You know, to ask me how proud I am is like preaching to the Pope about Catholicism. So, you know, we're obviously very, very proud of our heritage.
I know that you have made tremendous efforts to see some of the ancient artworks of the Kingdom of Benin to be repatriated, and I wonder if you could just give us an idea of how that's progressing.
We don't even expect all of them to be able to get back, but even we would like some of them to be out there to serve as ambassadors for us, because wherever they are seen, somebody will ask, where is this wonderful work from? They will say from the Benin Kingdom, from Benin Empire.
Many of the Benin bronzes were taken out of the kingdom when the British defeated Benin in 1897. The old city was destroyed and its buildings razed to the ground. Most of the Benin bronzes are of men. The first female to be depicted was Queen Idea. She was married to Oba Ozolwa, and their son Esigi became king in 1504. This bronze of Idea at the museum in Benin is a replica. The original is at the British Museum in London.
She not only advised the Oba, she also supported and assisted the Oba in terms of spiritual matters. She was known to be a very powerful woman with great spiritual powers and authority that she deployed.
The original shows real attention to detail and, you know, very fine work and artistry.
Look at the hairstyle, for example. Chicken beak.
Or I've heard it called a parrot's beak as well.
Parrot, chicken, bird. And if you look at the hairdo itself, the way it was depicted in bronze, and look at the The space is created on the particular hairstyle. You see, if you take their measurement, you see that each of them is equal to the other. That shows the attention paid by the broadcaster attending to this particular object.
I mean, it's a kind of, the hair is in a kind of cone shape, and then it's covered in a netting of coral beads.
Coral beads, yeah. Then, of course, you have the keloids on our
So
head.
there again, you have the rectangular incisions
Yes.
just above the eyebrows.
Yes.
And isn't that because it depicts where thought and power is concentrated?
It does, but of emphasis is the Queen Mother herself. Who was she? What role did she play? In relation to the son of Bayesige. He helped him get to the throne and helped him win wars with the Ida. Our art in Benin is not art for art's sake. It's art, it's a functional art. Our art tells a story. Remember also, these bronze casters played the role of the chroniclers of our history. Our people were orally literate. We don't call them illiterate, because we don't measure our literacy level by just how you speak English. They were orally literate because they could communicate in Benin and they could depict events on their works. So the motifs on this artwork help us to tell the stories, the oral narratives of what transpired in those days.
Some striking images made during the reign of Oba Esigye in the early 1500s depict men with European features, and Theophilus explains what this tells us about this particular Oba.
Oba Esigye had, a good supply, let me put it that way, full complement of Portuguese soldiers who acted as mercenaries. So they joined the Benin army to fight the Ida and assisted in winning. We should be able to establish the very good and cordial relationship between the Portuguese and Oba Esigye. All we know and remember the Portuguese for is their huge support of the Oba to win wars.
By the early 15th century, Benin was a walled city with wide streets and fine houses, captured in this sketch by a Dutch illustrator in the 1660s. Over the next 100 years, Benin became an empire stretching from the Niger Delta in the east to Lagos in the west.
It was during the reign of the warrior kings of Benin that Lagos was founded. And that was towards the end of the 16th century. And it was also the Benins also that ensured that the first Oba of Lagos, was installed by them. And since then up to this very moment, they still pay homage and royalty to the Oba of Benin. That area was actually part of the Benin Empire until the British annexation